an institutional level, there is only one hadith, which is in Sahih Bukhari. I think it's the hadith of Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, Ayatul Mu'min, Ayatul Munafiqi, Thalath. How do you spot a hypocrite? So we should stop being hypocrites. How do you spot a hypocrite? What happens? Either, I need to challenge your, because that is the basic hadith. So how do you know a hypocrite? إذا حدث كذب.
When he says it's fault.
When he says he's not actually saying what he is saying, he's not being said. So what he should say is not being said, and he says something else. And second, وإذا وعد أخلف. There is breach of contract. There is promises that are not real, and then you want to set up a structure. And lastly, what the Prophet said.
The second one is when he promises, he breaks.
Okay, I use the different language to mean that. And the last sign the Prophet said was إذا tumina. Do I need to it feels like the audience already knows the hadith, so I will focus on that. My humble request is that hadith alone, Sheikh Ahmed, should be enough to better our institutions. Say what you mean, promise and fulfill, and trust. Otherwise there is no trade. The two principles in both commercial, Islamic commercial law and commercial law, the conventional, any trade has to have two components. We need to maintain two things. A surah, speed, we should be fast at transacting, and this is where we should be the best at fintech. And the second thing, al-i'timan. I'timan, those letters in Arabic mean trust. They also mean creditworthiness if you're talking about finance. Now, we should be able to trust you such that we can do business very fast. The moment we spot that there is no trust and there is no speed in what we are doing, we're going to be slow forever. Thank you.
Appreciated. A big round of applause to Sheikh. I entirely agree with you. When we were talking to the school directors, and there were concerns that Olina Gama and Basomesa International Curriculum. But then when you go there, it's something different. Kukalango natika ko swimming pool, na kugama and school fees, it's 1 million. But when you go there, it's something different. And I think for me, these are very critical concerns. Of course, that's why we thought about having an association. And these are some of the things we can address. And I like the idea that how do we integrate the Sharia compliance within our line of work. And I think for me, that's a good takeaway. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I see Elias Wanawani. He's very, Elias has been doing a lot of work with IIT, International Islamic Thought. For some of us who had an opportunity studying from the other side of the world, there's a lot of experience of how the Muslim Americans were able to start up things like these. When they moved to the US, they started up associations, counselors, and all these, and then eventually moved into fintech, and now technology, and mostly from India, and mostly from one part of India, which is majorly Muslim, and then some of them, the Dr. Haifas came from Iraq, and all that. So it's really interesting, and all that was investments of a movement that started in the 1970s. And they even went ahead and started real estate from an Islamic perspective, schools and other things. These are good examples to think about, and Elias actually is one of the major students in our region, and he's with us here. That's the power of networking. So without wasting time, I want to pass the mic to Engineer Shaban. Engineer Shaban, you spoke about collaborations and partnerships. One thing that Dr. Shafiq says that you cannot tell me that Muslim doctors in the whole of this country don't, maybe they have an association, let's assume they do, I know they do. I don't know whether they have an association, lawyers, architects, scientists, dentists, engineers, construction workers, nurses, authors, journalists have one. Labor export, for example, in this country that generates close to $1 billion shillings, $1 billion US dollar, $1 billion in our investment, literally close to about 60% of these who create jobs for the people abroad are Muslim businesses. I don't know whether they have an association. If they do have an association, whether Muslims have an association, making sure that the Sharia compliance aspect comes in here. And human resource specialists, counseling professionals here. I see my counselor friend here, restaurants and cafes, halal aspect. We lost the halal economy. So where are we? And talk us through on what are those, why do you think collaborations, partnerships, and the importance of us coming together, what are the other ways we can leverage and take advantage of these opportunities to strengthen ourselves and also make a contribution to our country?
All right, thank you so much. I must say this topic for me, it rubs a very deep part of my heart, because I want to believe I am what I am today majorly because of collaborations and partnerships that I have been able to establish along the way. I believe so much in partnerships and collaborations, because I believe if we as human beings can develop a central nervous system that can be able to support and encourage each other to be better human beings, I think it is a very important thing for us to have. So when we read this to the Muslim community, I have seen collaborations and partnerships happening all over the world. Yeah, I have read about collaborations when it comes to Islamic banking, Islamic finance. I have seen collaborations, countries coming together, Islamic countries coming together. However, the case in Uganda is a bit different. Like you mentioned, we are as if hesitant to try and collaborate with each other. And I understand there's a lot of limitations that come with this. I understand there's a lot of fears that come with people relating with people, and you know, but I believe if we develop this central nervous system, I think the key word here is a central nervous system, because you know, scientists tell us the central nervous system is the part of the body that literally organizes and controls every part of the body. So if we develop as Muslims, if we are able to develop that sense of feeling, that sense of togetherness, that sense of belonging, that you know what, this is my person, this is a fellow Muslim. If we can come together, the challenges that we face as individuals can turn into opportunities. So I look at this as, imagine a beautifully woven cloth with each thread representing a different institution with its independent strength. I don't know, that's the analogy that I'm trying to bring. Imagine a cloth beautifully woven with different threads, but with each thread representing a different institution that is a powerhouse in its own regard. For example, my neighbor over here, Hajjat Shamila, she's in fintech. I am in security systems and technology. And I don't know if you know, but you've been able to give me a job before. I have done some work for her. And I have never met her, to be honest. I have done work for her. I did access controls at Pivot like 2 years ago. I have never met her. But imagine if we...
Let's just give it a big round of applause on that.
Yes. I have done access controls for her.
And I just want to say that thank you for supporting her sister as well. And the sister, thank you for also putting the money back into the Ummah as well.
Yes.
So the Ummah needs money, yeah?
The Ummah does need money. Because you see, when we are able to support each other, and I'm relating this to the partnerships, if I had known, I heard about Hajjat Shamila when I was getting the job, but I was getting the job through a third party, yes? So I did not understand, no, that's fine. I did not understand that maybe the relationship, maybe if I had known Hajjat Shamila, and if maybe we had had a conversation or an interaction before, maybe I would have executed the job better than I did. In a way, you know what I mean? No, it doesn't, it's not corruption, but listen, I think doing business, I have come to realize that there is a lot more to do with the personal relationships when we are doing business. There is a lot more to do with personal relationships. The way you do business with someone when you have established an elaborate relationship with someone is a bit different from, you know, someone that you just want to get money from. So so I think it's very important for us as Muslims to realize that there is strength in unity, there is strength in partnerships, And all these challenges that we face as individuals can be opportunities. Recently, I got an opportunity that came my way. They wanted us to do solar lighting in Kampala, Entebbe, and then also, the CBD. And in my small capacity, I did not know how I was going to do it, because they were saying the financing was going to come through, was going to be recouped through advertising and whatnot. And I was like, where do I start from? This is over 100,000 lights, big project. However, there is a gentleman, a Muslim. He's a managing director at a company called Mad Makan. It's an advertising agency. They do a lot of PR and whatnot. So I was able to talk to him, and interface with him. And I'm like, you're into advertising? How about we do a joint venture? We call it a GV in our business terms. How about we do a joint venture where you bring on the speciality that you bring on when it comes to PR and whatnot, and then me, I am the king when it comes to solar lights and security installations. Let's see how we can brainstorm, bring up knowledge, bring up resources, pull resources together, and see how we can be able to do this business. So I think it's important for us to be able to, as Muslims, because it hurts. It hurts because right now in my circles of friends, I can say we are not so many Muslims that are into business or doing business together. Okay. And this is the young generation.
I'm going to engage you on that.
Yes.
So in your circle of friends, as engineers who are doing lighting, or engineers doing tech, engineers doing what?
So it is a mix of so many things.
What does that mean?
We have so many different professionals. We have doctors, we have businessmen, we have plumbers, we have a couple of different professionals.
Association of Muslim Plumbers. Okay, so that's...
We can have an association, but then the point here is that and yesterday actually I was talking to another group of my friends the other day, and then I was telling them, how about every Friday after Asr prayers, why don't we meet for just an hour as Muslim brothers? Because we're always meeting. We're always meeting when we meet with different friends, we meet at restaurants and whatnot. I was like, why don't we get an hour in a week to just sit down and first of all remember Allah, but also see how best can we improve ourselves in the community, and how best can we improve and push ourselves, because guys are doing big things and we are slacking behind as Muslims.
Cool. Thank you very much. A big round of applause to Engineer Shindendo.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So good things actually happening. Graphic designers. I just saw one of the best Muslim graphic designer there working in Adil. Adil, just say salam to people. So where are the Muslim graphic designers who will help us to design things that are a bit better? But key things that you mentioned, if she's the only Muslim women and women fintech that has been certified and approved by the Bank of Uganda, where are the rest of the Muslim women, if they're out there, or where are the rest of the women, if we have to think about them? But critical issues that you highlight, it's the power is in coming together in an orderly way. Things that bring you together to fulfill a certain passion or purpose, but being done in an orderly way, and then just to plug in what the Sheikh says, in a Sharia compliant way. In other words, how do you integrate in those aspects? And I think for me, those are critical aspects. I just want to pass the mic to Council first, then the mic will bounce back to Doctor, and then I will have to open up a Q&A and maybe before I get into a Q&A, there's a burning hand that wants to corrupt me, but I will just pretend that I'm not seeing that. But Council, you really have, you have those opening statements in about 3 minutes. Just sanctify your thoughts and see how we can proceed. You're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to give this a little bit of background and perspective. I am, by training, a physics math teacher. And I did teach, I think, physics and math with excellency. I have a couple of my students here. They can testify to that.
Yeah.
I have lots.
Okay, so
of
if you
students
were
here.
once his...
If you ask me to ask them to stand up.
Okay, please,
half
if you
of
don't
this hall
mind,
might
just stand up for recognition and mashallah. Mashallah. So
Okay, I have 3, but I'm sure there are others who don't want to stand up.
Yeah,
I moved from teaching physics and math because I challenged myself to becoming a certified, international certified accountant and an SCCA. I wasn't satisfied with that because I was thinking of how do I build my competence and become helpful to the society and stop lamenting about the problems that keep on hitting at our community. So I then moved from SCCA to do a master's in financial management and majored in financial and taxation. I wasn't still satisfied. I said, one more thing to go. At that point, I was bit between going vertically upwards and or horizontally. So I decided on remaining horizontal. So I took on law. And when I finished with law, I was almost done until